So I'm going to go ahead and call us to order and ask for introductions. I'd like to have the people who are live introduce themselves first because it's harder to see them. So why don't we start in that room with you, Jen?
Okay, great. I'm Jen Burbidge, Director of Parks, Culture, and Recreation for the City of Lacey.
I'm Kelly Adams, the Special Projects Administrator for Public Affairs.
And I'm at home.
I'm Robert Southwick, Vice President of the Lacey Historical Society.
I'm John Halverson, President of the Lacey Historical Society and also a member of this commission.
So Alan, why don't you go ahead next?
Oh, I'm Alan Tyler, one of the commissioners.
Kevin?
I'm Kevin Wyckoff, and I'm also one of the commissioners.
And I'm Jim Keogh, I'm the chair. Do we have anybody currently? Oh, Kimberly just came in. Hi, Kimberly.
And Sarah.
And Sarah.
Sarah Smith, Executive Assistant, Parks, Culture, and Recreation.
Do we have anybody else? Quick question for you, Sarah. Do we have anybody currently sitting out there from the public?
No, we do not.
Okay. We'll check that again later when we get to public comment, but I just was curious. So want to go ahead and start off with asking for an approval of the agenda. Start there. I'm assuming everybody's had a chance to take a look at it. And I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to accept the agenda as distributed.
I'd second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good there. The next thing on our agenda is to review the minutes from last meeting. I'm going to suggest that whoever wants to go ahead and make a motion to approve that or to make some changes probably should be one of the people there last time since I wasn't.
I'll move adoption of the minutes as distributed for July 19th.
Second.
Any discussion, changes suggested, etc.? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing nothing in that regard, minutes are approved. Jan, I think we turn to you for announcements.
Just a quick one that Erin Quinn Velcho, our museum curator, is not in attendance this evening, so I'll be giving her a report.
Well, Sarah, I think at this point, just another quick question, see if there's any public comment, any likelihood of public comment out there.
Not currently, no.
Okay. So I think then we can move forward to the business items. First up is the civic clerk orientation.
Okay, great. So Kelly is here with us and she's introduced herself. But what I just wanted to mention here before she gets into our civic clerk orientation is that you probably noticed there are some format changes to your agenda. So we are at the city trying to be more consistent with other boards and commissions. And so so this is a new structure. There might be a couple of things that change in the future as we work through, this new civic clerk, the functions. And we just really appreciate your patience as we work through those. So hopefully you found it easy to understand. One of the bigger changes is that instead of old business, new business, they're all listed as business items. And then under the reports section, we just list all the different reports that will take place today and at every meeting. So again, just appreciate your patience with that. And with that, I will turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Jen. Yep. So about a year ago, the city clerk's office and public affairs got together to improve the process for publishing public meeting information. We wanted to make things more transparent. We wanted to make it easier to access. And we really wanted to make sure that our website was easier to navigate for those trying to attend our public meetings. We also wanted to reduce duplicate staff efforts. And overall, this goal was trying to enhance our already stellar compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, trying to promote transparency and trying to reduce additional public records requests. And so part of that is just really making things easier to access. So I want to give you a quick tour of our new public meetings portal that's on our website. So we have this here, but I want to share this with everyone online. And this is what happens when you put on your readers and you leave your office without your regular glasses. There we go. All right, so if you are on our website, cityoflacey.org, there is a button right in the middle and it's public meetings. You really don't even need to scroll down. We just click on public meetings. And here we are. This is our public meetings portal. Pardon me while I reduce this video feed here. And so the public meetings portal has 4 main areas. The first is a navigable calendar. So I can click on any of these bold days, and in the preview screen, it will show me all of the public meetings for that day. If I scroll down, it goes forward in time. If I scroll up, it goes backwards in time. We currently have 2 years of archives in this system, and we will be adding in the next few months, we'll be adding everything back to 2011. So here in the date filters, let's say I just want to see items for 2023. So the keyboard is not working, which is fine because we have a date picker here. So if I was on my mobile device, I don't need to necessarily type in anything. Let's say that I want January 1st to 2023, let's say December, take the last day in December. Okay. And in this event categories, I just want to see historical commission. That's all that's important to me right now. And here we go. This is going to show me only historical commission meetings throughout the year. And it will show me the video and the documents. And I'm going to click into that in just a second. What I really love about this and the newest, best feature we have is that you can do research. You can search, like let's put in the word museum. And it is going to pull up for me every meeting that has a document or the word museum in its title. And it is actually searching all of the PDFs that are in here to pull those up for you. So doing historical research or looking at what the legislative history of an item is much easier on our site now. And so I'm going to go back. And let's look at one of our meetings. So let's look at our June 21st meeting. When I click on this, it opens it up into a nice big view where I can look at the meeting files. I can look at my agenda packet, and my minutes. It gives me a little preview. But what I can also do, I can download these in PDF or plain text. Plain text is fantastic for e-readers when we want the computer to read to us. And it's very helpful for a lot of other applications that you would want to analyze text in. We also have video, and I'm going to pause this, but it has all of our meeting videos in here. And as we move forward, they will be bookmarked in time. So you'll have a little bookmark menu on the side that you can navigate very quickly to agenda items in the video. So you don't have to hunt and search for that. Up here, let's see here, we got our meeting files. Members of the public can sign up for notifications or to send public comments through this system. So it's a one-stop shop for their public meeting needs. And as you can see, when I went to a different place, it brought my video with me. Okay. So let me see if it'll let me sign in here. So that you can see what the public sees. So I am signed in. I can submit a public comment for this meeting. This goes directly to the city clerk. And I can also share the meeting very quickly. I can email my mom and shoot her a quick message to say, check out this meeting, and it will email her a link. So I don't even have to get out and find my email to do that.
You just write mom.
I have to put in my mom's email, but I don't have to open up Outlook or Yahoo or. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. All right, so I would like to, I want to stop sharing at this point. And ask if there's any questions about the website or the public portal.
Kelly, Jim Keough, quick question. I was curious, you noted, I noticed that you had videos on there. How far back will, and that you're going to eventually have agendas, et cetera, going back to 2011. Will videos go back that far, or the videos go back a much shorter period?
Everything that we have videos for. So we used to have videos on a platform called Granicus, and we've pulled those. They might not be as high resolution as videos that we've taken the last 2 years with Zoom. But if you have videos for the Historical Commission, those will be re-uploaded. But if you weren't videoing,
We weren't.
yeah.
I don't think we have anything before Zoom.
But for city council, they were
Yeah,
from that time on.
Okay.
for commission, it'll be 2020. Or whenever we started the Zoom, late 2020, do you remember?
About mid 2020.
Mid,
Yeah,
yeah.
we were pretty early adopters. So I wanted to, if there were no other questions, I wanted to go into what changes you can expect as a board. Pardon me, as a commission. And so we have this new location, so there's one place for everyone to go in the public to go view public meetings. You also have access to a new tool, which is a version of this site called the board's portal. So you'll have your own login so that you can go in and view the meeting materials. It's not incredibly different, but it gives you the capability of seeing what items are live during a meeting. It allows you to vote electronically when motions are put forward. It allows you to check into the meeting electronically so that you, Sarah, for example, can see when you've checked into the meeting. It also allows you to make notes. So you can prepare for the meeting and have one place for all of your notes. The notes are discoverable. They're private in so much as you're putting them on your account, but they are discoverable through OPMA, through a public records request. And so another change is that you don't need a device of your own to access this. We have an entire group of loaner iPads for you that are charged and here at City Hall, ready for you during your meetings, if you would like to use them.
So in other words, an attendee, like John, for instance, or Ed, would be able to have that right in front of them.
For commissioners, yes.
Okay.
For commissioners. And so I will be emailing you your logins. And so you will see an email come from me this week. With,
Will this replace what we're doing currently with Zoom, or will that still sit?
you'll
on
still
the side of it.
participate, you'll still participate in Zoom.
Okay.
And so here I have a handout of an example email that you'll see so you know it's not spam, and some instructions for you. And I will email this to the group this evening so that you know what's coming.
Can I remain historical and use paper and
Absolutely.
binders and
Absolutely.
the old fashioned way, pen and
There's
ink.
no requirement to use this, but what this does do, if you don't use it, is it allows Sarah to select things very quickly in the system.
I know. I'm part of the hysterical commission.
It's a good question though.
Yeah.
I get hysterical with change. I'm not good at it. I used to be good at it. But yeah, I recognize my granddaughters and everybody else is on iPads and whatever. So it's the future, the younger people that you bring in, they won't know how to do cursive or make binders or any of that stuff. They'll only know how to press buttons.
I'm happy to come to the next meeting, walk through it with you. I'll even write the instructions in cursive.
Yeah, I know how to do it. That's okay. I'm teasing you.
I will say our grandsons consider cursive kind of a secret language.
It is.
All right, well, that is all I have.
So I had
Pretty
one,
slick.
one more thing is that our commissioners might go to the lacyparks.org website and go to the Lacey Museum and get to the historical commission page that way.
Yes, and on that page, I've embedded a screen that shows you the public meetings, so you can access your meetings on your page on the park site.
Yeah, so either way, you can go through cityoflacey.org or lacyparks.org to get to the same spot.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Does anybody have any other questions before she peels them? Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Tell mom to watch us. We're a lot of fun.
So with that, I think, Jen, we're moving on to you.
Sure, so the new museum project. So just a quick one on this. I've set up a bi-monthly stakeholder committee to focus on funding strategy for the new museum and cultural center. The first meeting was intended for August 4th, but we moved that to Thursday, August 31st at 9:00 a.m. Here at City Hall or Zoom. It'll be a hybrid, so you can attend either way.
Have you sent that
of
out?
those. I did.
I
Yep,
missed
did you
that.
get it?
No, I missed that.
Oh.
Oh, you may have sent it. I missed it.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
It's only for the committee, so.
yeah, the two of us that are on.
Yeah, so Chair
Right.
Keto and Commissioner
Would you
Halverson.
mind send it to me again?
And I did see it, Jen.
Okay,
I know I built it into my calendar.
I'm gonna have Sarah check real quick. For the 31st at 9, Sarah, can you check that Commissioner Halverson is on that invite? So she'll take a look at that. But yes, we can send it out again.
I would appreciate it, yeah.
That's all I have on that.
So shall we, are there any other questions in that regard? Hearing none, shall we move on to the depot and food truck plaza?
Yeah, so it's been a busy summer over there. We've got depot rentals, we've got the first Fridays and the fourth Sundays markets, and entertainment that are provided by Love Local Events for us. The next event will be August 26th. There was a really fun one held on August 4th. And after that, September 1st will be their next Friday one. Also, Lacey Park staff did host a kids concert at the depot on August 10th at 2 p.m. as part of the Play in the Park series. So a lot of synergy, lots going on over there. Certainly great weather.
It seems pretty busy most of the time I've driven by there.
I agree.
Any questions of Jen on that particular report? If not, let's move on to the Jacob Smith House re-roofing project, which I know you guys discussed last month as well, so.
Yeah, so we are still waiting. I was hoping to have some information to share with you tonight, but I don't actually. We're still waiting for a few more estimates to come in since that initial estimate came in so much higher than anticipated. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now. But I know Aaron did bring this last time and I brought it again for you to see the composite materials. If you hadn't.
I
So
saw.
anybody that wants to take a look at that. But again, we're still getting prices for both the composite and the cedar. So we'll just have to,
Are both of them 50% iron?
let's see, the cedar came in around 90,000 and the composite came in around 135,000.
Yeah.
So I'd have to,
Hard to believe, isn't it?
yeah, 50%.
It really is.
Yep, so inflation.
What that tells me is they don't want the job. You know, that's what roofers do. They jack the price up if they're too busy and they got other work. That's my opinion.
Definitely want some other estimates.
Well, and I certainly, what our experience with our own house is that we've been seeing an increase in costs of construction materials here in the last year or two. It's been pretty significant.
For sure. Yep, that's all I had on that one.
Any other questions for Jen on that particular one? If not, I guess we're still waiting until September.
Yep.
Shall we move down to our next decision point, which I think is the acquisitions?
Yes, so I'm going to present these for Erin. It looks like she has accepted 2 items for the permanent collection. From Edward Exley, the 4 yearbooks from North Thurston High School, 1958 through 1961. And then reunion programs also from North Thurston High School, class of 61, their 35th and 40th reunion. And she has the relation to the mission. Preserving North Thurston Public School history is an essential part of our mission. And relation to the collection, these will be added to fill gaps in our yearbook collection.
Might add that former Mayor Graham Sacrison, class of 61, first class.
Ah, cool. And then from the Lacey Historical Society, the records from 1980 to 2019, there were 9 boxes. Relation to the mission, it's our mission to preserve history of local organizations. And then relation to the collection, this is tied both to our local organizations collections and our own institutional history. So we appreciate those donations to the museum collections. And it looks like there was 1 item that was declined.
Wow. Yeah.
So
I had a quick curiosity question, Jen. You may or may not know this answer. When did North Thurston High School start? Roughly.
I think it was
55.
59.
No.
So these yearbooks are pretty close to the beginning point.
I'm out of the class of 61.
You are too.
oh, you are?
And we started there in the 7th and 8th grade. And what was formulated was North Thurston Junior High. And I believe that was around 54 or 55. In that 2 years. And I went the full years up to 61. So that was 6 years before.
Yeah, but the first graduating class was 61.
No,
Oh, it wasn't?
no.
High school graduation. I'm talking.
That's correct.
Well, that little Graham, he told me he was in the first class and he's 61.
No, he was probably the first ones, like myself, who ended up being there for 6 years
Okay.
because we went to junior high there. What they did, in fact, when they built North Thurston, was they took the Yeah, the north, yeah, it would be the north wing and created North Thurston Junior High. And then operated it for 2 years. And so there you go, just subtract away, it's 1955. It was probably their first graduating class.
There you go, Chair.
There you go. From the horse's mouth, the guy who was there.
That's right.
Yeah. So this takes us a ways back in that history. That's nice. So I guess what we need to do is we need to have a motion on this, whether we accept both the acceptances of the permanent collection as well as the one declination. I will entertain a motion in that regard.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion, pros or cons? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I think we've approved it.
Thank you.
And I think that moves us down to reports.
They seem to be set there as, as giving a report. There's still signing documents and phone committees and the like, and finding dates and places to meet, that kind of thing. I think we have a fair number of people and we will end up doing quite well if things continue as they are. I'm not sure. I'm rather curious as to what they declined.
It's in there.
Oh, you're talking about for the acquisitions?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Does anybody have a copy of the packet they could share with?
Yeah, what I could read it if nothing else. It says medals earned by Lieutenant Colonel Barbara Nichols, who lived in Panorama for 30 years. And one of the primary reasons for declining was that she wanted to be guaranteed that those would be on exhibit, which that's not something we're able to consistently do. So.
I see. Am I leaving out
Anything else?
anything, John?
Well, we're going to have an annual meeting on October 24th. And we're working on solidifying the membership names, making sure we have everyone who's paid, get the newsletter and the call to the meeting. And then at that meeting, we'll be electing the officers on board for the next calendar year, 2024. So we're in the planning process of that. Robert's very much involved, so am I, of course. At present, it looks like we have somewhere around 220 paid members who will be voting for the leadership in 2024. So, and we're working very hard to communicate with them through newsletters. We'll be getting each of you a copy when it comes out. Should be out in the next couple of weeks, telling what our program is, what we want to do. We're hoping to do an oral history project, much like you're doing, or the commission's doing, we are doing, by interviewing residents that have been here a long time. And in the newsletter, you'll see at least 3 stories by people who have lived here since or families have been here since the 30s and the 40s. So we're going to do a sort of a special on various families, and that'll be the theme of the next couple of newsletters. And then there may well be presentations at the annual meeting. We haven't figured that quite out yet. We're working on what the agenda will be. But we invite all of you to participate. We want all of you to join. It'll be great.
And what date is the meeting again?
October 24th, Lacey Community Center at 6 p.m. 6:30, sorry, 6:30 p.m. And we'll get stuff to you, lots of information.
Robert, thank you for being here.
Any questions? Hearing none, I think we'll move on to the policy committee. Which is, last I knew was not meeting, but I guess I want to check that.
That is still correct. Thank you for checking.
Okay, thanks, Kimberly. And then I guess I'd like to rotate around and have the commissioners give reports. Let's start with those who are in person. So you guys can do it, tug of war or whatever, to decide who's going first, or just start on one side of the table and go with the other. John, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Commissioner Holm, do you have a report? Anything to report?
No, I have nothing to report. And if I get some, I'll let you know.
I don't have anything new to report. I've enjoyed going to all the meetings. I haven't missed one yet since I was appointed. And we'll have lots more to say about the society and how we can partner with you on projects in future.
Okay, Kimberly, you want to?
I have nothing to report either. Thank you.
Okay, Kevin?
I don't have anything to report either.
Alan?
Oh, I have something to report. So my son went over to the food truck plaza, I think last Tuesday, and got ice cream. And so then I went over to the food truck plaza on Thursday, and it was gone again. It's pretty elusive. I don't know what happens to the ice cream truck. Someday I'm going to catch it. That's all I have to report.
We need to put a bell on it so you can hear it when it comes.
Maybe he comes to the house and brags about this ice cream he got. It's ridiculous.
Jennifer, we learned.
You haven't come up with a pattern so far.
Have not worked it out.
Personal phone call, Alan Tyler.
Ice cream.
Invite him.
Okay, anybody else have anything that you've thought of subsequently? Otherwise, I'll move on to my report.
I'm gonna ask one thing on this membership.
Yes.
Go out and recruit members. I don't know how this is working.
Yes, anybody who cares about the history of Lacey, you're welcome.
I see.
Gotta have $10 though.
$10. Yeah, okay.
No, we don't charge much.
No, I know. Well, I just wondered how that worked and if you're actively recruiting or.
Well, we are through the newsletter and we're gonna do it through other ways too, like the senior news. We're gonna drop our newsletter off at various places and get people that are interested. You don't have to have stayed living in Lacey. You don't have to have been here 80 years. You can be from wherever you're from. We want to also bring in more young people that care about history and then get them involved. And then, when us old people pass along, there'll be somebody younger who keeps it going. That's the main thing. They were down to just 4 members of the board and it really was almost ready to dissolve.
Really?
But the call went out and 25 of us showed up at the fire department to save it.
I'll be darned.
And the next thing you know, now we have at least 15, maybe 16 candidates for all the positions right now for the 12 positions, including several illustrious former city council members and whatnot. So yeah, we've got quite a team out recruiting. Karen Frazier, Mark Brown, Cynthia Pratt, myself. We're getting the whole gang together.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Thank you.
So a quick shot in that in terms of my report, most of what I've got to report comes from sitting in on the Thurston County Historic Commission's meeting last week. As I'm kind of the liaison on the rack kiosk part, which means I end up sitting on the commission meetings for at least part of those meetings. The biggest notes that I have, that are probably of interest, one is that they're starting to set in place some property reviews for their own historic register. And it sounds like they're going to begin an orientation in September with Shannon Stevenson, who used to do a similar thing for the city of Olympia, coming in to help a little bit. So that's an interesting item. We have a historic register, of course, for the city of Lacey. They have a Heritage Day planning. Well, they're doing Heritage Day on October 14th at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. I know that we're going to have staff doing a presentation there. I attended last year. They had typically about 10 groups that make a report during the course of the morning from about 9 to noon in that time period. So it's an interesting set of presentations. You can see everything from books that are being put out of history in the area to presentations of various projects around the county. As far as the rack goes, which is the primary reason I was there. Oh, and they're still working on getting a reprint for Water, Woods, and the Prairies, the book that they had put out a couple of years ago. As far as the rack interpretive panels go, I know that the MOU is still under discussion and they're still working on a set of plaques. I talked with Aaron this week about a couple that we had one of the interesting fall downs is with Ken Balsey dying. He had been maintaining connections with Aaron on a couple of plaques that subsequently had gotten dropped. And so I've talked to Aaron about that and we're figuring out how we're going to handle that. And then they've got some other ones that they've also got in process. They're still looking at doing 6 to 8 plaques ultimately. Those are the primary things I have to note. Other than that, I've resumed doing some work on the Lacey Leader Project. And if anybody likes to play around with being a detective when looking at photos, I'd encourage you to volunteer on that because I'll tell you there's always detective work. So, today I was sorting out the name of a speaker that had showed up in one of the photos. And there were about 2 or 3 different versions. And ultimately I was able to sort that out. But there's always interesting things where you find interesting people that you go, oh, I didn't know they were here or what they did or whatever. So if you're interested, I know Aaron is always looking for volunteers in that regard. So that's what I have to report.
Jim, could you repeat the Heritage Day date and location?
It's going to be October 14th and it'll be at the fairgrounds. I think it's in that first building to the right as you come through the gate. That's where it was last year. It sounds like that's where we're doing it again.
Thank you. Starts at 9, you say?
I believe that's what they're shooting for. Yes. Last year it was like 9 to noon. If there are no other questions, then I think we go to Jen to both report for Aaron and for herself.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So for the museum report for July was a busy month. Visitor services, museum store and exhibits. There were 80 visitors at the museum, 73 walk-ins and 7 for business. Walk-in attendance was higher than average in July due to a group of 18 people from Kenya with the Friendship Force who had visited. Under staff and volunteers, Felicia successfully completed her probationary period as the coordinator. So we're excited to have her continue with us. This month, in July, 4 volunteers gave 65 hours to the museum. We have a new volunteer named Tracy Rebstock. She started July 8th. And then we had Madison, 2 different Madisons working as gallery hosts at the museum. And as Jim mentioned, he worked the Lacey Leader Project. And Tracy working on creating finding aids for the museum collection. So under programs and events, Felicia and Madison facilitated the July tabletop education program on biplanes at the museum, which had 21 participants. And then Felicia partnered with the Lacey Makerspace to create the materials for the August tabletop program. And these have been really popular programs and that people have been having a lot of fun as they come into the museum. Aaron and Felicia both assisted the department with the July 3rd event. As far as outreach and marketing, Felicia sent out the July Museum newsletter that included the History Talks survey, information about the stories of the South Sound Oral History Project, and the tabletop crafts. You probably all got a copy of that, I'm hoping. Collections, research, and service requests. Aaron worked with several researchers in July, including a member of the Chambers family, Karen Fraser, and the Lacey Historical Society. Aaron also worked on processing new acquisitions, including those Lacey Historical Society records that we discussed earlier. Grants and funding, I think we did mention this, but just to mention it again, the Lacey Museum was awarded $15,000 from the Diversity and Local History Grant to fund an intern to assist with that oral history project, Stories of the South Sound. We're very excited about that and complimentary to Felicia for writing her first grant that was successful with the State Historical Society. Aaron completed budget requests. I think we discussed those before, the design software and a historic preservation consultant request. And then under professional development, Aaron and Felicia began training in Photoshop and InDesign. They are wanting to do more of our own promotional materials, or excuse me, not just promotional, but also exhibit, information and graphics. So I really appreciate their efforts with that and getting themselves trained up to be able to do a variety of different things there. So that is the museum report.
Any questions? Hearing none, I guess move forward, Jen.
Okay, as for my report, a couple of things. I'm excited to report that the Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan was on the City Council work session agenda last Thursday, August 10th. And that was a great discussion. Council was supportive to move it forward to the August 17th council meeting for final approval. So that'll be tomorrow night. I wanted to report that we do have a cooling center at the Virgil S. Clarkson Senior Center this week. Actually, today's the last day of it. But we had that from 12 to 7. Sounds like we had a handful of people that use the senior center for that purpose to stay cool with the heat wave we've had this week. Also wanted to report the first annual volunteer appreciation event was held this past Friday, August 11th at Rainier Vista Park. I understand a couple of commissioners were able to make it. So thank you for coming. I know that, Commissioner Holm and Halverson. I don't know if anybody else was able to make it.
Free food.
Free food.
Good food too.
Good food.
But thank you to those that made it, and thank you to all of you for volunteering as commissioners. And I know some of you do extra volunteering as well. We are so appreciative of that, and we want to make it a tradition to recognize all the volunteers each year. So this was our first annual, and we're hoping to grow in numbers for next year. We had 550 volunteers for the department last year. So I think that that's a sizable amount of people who are coming out to support and help. And we just can't say thank you enough for helping us out and your community, really. The next thing I have is that, just in case anybody knows of anybody who's interested, Lacey Parks is hiring a recreation supervisor. That job is posted until August 25th. And that's to backfill Jenny Wilson's position. She's our new senior parks planner, and she was a recreation supervisor. And she's the one who put on the volunteer event. So if you know anybody who's interested in planning and supervising, organizing events, programs, please point them to our website or have them give us a call if they need more information. And the last thing I'll mention is that with Rick Walk being named city manager, the city will soon be hiring a new community and economic development director, and that'll be a national search, competitive search. But again, if you know someone who's getting that opportunity, please help us share that news. It's not open yet, but it will be soon. So, and that's all I have.
Any questions for Jen? What? So before we adjourn, I guess the only question I would post up is whether people have any particular agenda items they want to make sure we get to in the next month or two. And you can feel free to send any suggestions to Jen or I. But just wanted to put that out there as we think about what we're going to cover in the fall, so.
I just would like to draw your attention to the future meetings list there. The history of the Lacey Fire Department that talk will be by Paul Webb, who is on our board of directors for the Lacey Historical Society. So
Oh.
first newsletter has sort of excerpts from that, and then this will be a much better, longer presentation. And he's one of the originals, so you'll wanna hear the story.
And I do want to note another item on that agenda, which on that future, which is that prior to our next meeting, there's going to be the tour that's going to be coming up on September 15th, leaving at noon from City Hall. This will be a chance for commission members to see the museum, see some of the projects that are being worked on, that type of thing. So I think it's a good opportunity. And hope you put that on your calendar if you possibly can.
That starts at noon.
Yep,
Yes.
and we'll be taking you in the city vans from City Hall. So meet here just a little before noon. We'll load up the van and we're going to take you to the current museum, the new museum site in Lacey Depot, and then to the McKinney House as well. So those are the 3 stops that we'll have.
Will Mr. Tyler be able to get ice cream there?
Mr. Tyler, I'm going to find out about the ice cream truck. Thank you for bringing that up because we're gonna actually go there first because it is around lunchtime. So optional, of course, but if you want to buy lunch,
We could come hungry?
we'll have time. You can come hungry. I'm planning to do that. So anybody who wants to
I think that's a good
join
plan.
for lunch, I
Yeah.
think that would be kind of fun.
Support our local business.
That's right. But you can also bring your own as well.
Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I will note in just the nature of history that yesterday was, I think we set a historic record for heat for the late city of Lacey and the general South Sound for this particular date. Otherwise, nothing else to note. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don't need one. Don't need one.
You can just do it.
Just adjourn.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just adjourn then. And we'll see you next month, hopefully on the 15th.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.